It is an honor to meet you once again on this channel, Biblical Research and Innovation Network for Africa, Brain for Africa or Brainfa. In this video, I'm going to read to you the Bono-Twi version of the Lord's Prayer from Matthew's Gospel. And after that, I will note a few points. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 to 13. Matthew asempa teens yanchichemu nkron dekosi nchichemu du miensa. Ipa mchomenti erade asem. Nti humompa yese ye aja we asoro anidi nka udini. Wahini imra openye ho asasi so sede otu yesoro. Maye aduane nenso sede a odi maye dahe. Nafa ye kache sene ya yenso ye de acheba bede yeka na nyaye ma yenko nsohwem na mum je free bone for hinsam efri se oyewo ne ahenie ni tumi ne animonyam yawo dia da. Amen. If you listen carefully and you are an Akan speaker or you read the Akan mother tongue Bible for your edification, then you note at least 3 areas in which the Bono-Twi version differs from what you are familiar with. Before I point these ones out, I would like to introduce you to a few Bono-Twi terms that we will find here. In an earlier video, I introduced you to the personal pronoun, third person plural, that is be. I introduced you also to ya, meaning locational, as in owo, in other Akan dialects such as Akuapem and Asante-Twi. Then I also introduced you to he, which is the definite article adopted for the Bono-Twi speaking community in this Bible. In that video, I indicated that there are 3 words and each of them is valid within the Bono-Twi linguistic tradition. They are ke, no, and he. Each of them stands for the definite article there. But then I added in that video that for consistency and based on the number of people who use each of these words, he was adopted in this Bible. Today, the words that I want to introduce you to are first, ho, he, o, ho. Ho is you, the plural you in Bono-Twi. Ho, he, o, ho, you. So when you hear nti homom paese, literally you will say, so you, plural, pray this way. I'm also introducing you to another pronoun, that is ye, ye. Some other Akan speakers will say yen, but we the Bono, we say ye without the n at the end. So it is ye, ye. Then another thing that probably you also took notice of is the fact that the Bono-Twi words do not normally have prefixes. I mean Bono-Twi nouns. Some Akan dialects will be saying osro or sro, but Bono will say sro. So at least I've walked you through a few things that you can notice as far as the Bono-Twi linguistic tradition is concerned within the context of the Lord's Prayer. Now let us come to some of the areas where the text that I read differs from what you know from other Akan versions of the Bible. The first one is in verse 9. Nti hummo paese yeja we asoro anidie nka udini. The expression anidie nka udini, some versions will say udini honte. May your name be sanctified. The translators, having considered some exegetical and theological as well as socio-linguistic issues, felt that to serve the best religious interest of the Bono-Twi speaking community, that expression, which has been translated as hallowed be thy name or hallowed be your name, should be rendered in such a way to mean to give reverence to God's name. And God's name in this case theologically refers to God's personality, his essence, God himself. And so the translators, together with the reviewers and other stakeholders in the community, realized that the best that could be given to the Bono-Twi speaking community is Anidie Nka Udri. May your name be revered. Anidie Nka Udri. Another area that you might have seen a difference is verse 11, where I read Maya Aduane Nenso. Send awode Maya Dahi. Give us food today too. Literally, give us food today too, just as you give to us every day. Here there is a one day at a time mentality, which was initially developed in passages in Old Testament, and Jesus is now expanding that idea to teach the one day at a time mentality or philosophy. And he will climax it later in the same chapter, that is Matthew chapter 6, verses 33 and 34 especially. That we need to think of a day at a time, a day at a time. And so if we are looking for something, it is one day's food. Here, if the translator doesn't take care, he might render it in such a way that it will sound as if the worshipper is asking for every day's food to be given to them on that day. It is actually today's food that we need, but give it to us just as you give to us always. Another point that I need to highlight is verse 13. Nanyaye mayanko sohemu. Do not allow us to go into temptation. A study of the Greek text points to the fact that Jesus was saying that we should pray that God will not allow us. That means that God shouldn't withdraw his grace from us, else we will move into temptation. If you render it to mean, do not lead us into temptation, then you accuse God as one who leads the worshiper into temptation, which is theologically not sound and has no support anywhere in the Bible. When we fall into temptation, it is not God who has led us into temptation. When we fall into temptation, our own desires have led us into temptation. What it means is that God's grace is what prevents us from going into temptation. So God, do not withdraw your grace, else we will fall into temptation. It is based on this exegetical and theological analysis, as well as social-linguistic analysis of the terminologies that the translators arrived at. Nanyaye mayanko sohemu. Finally, you will see that the part which says, if we say, Oyawo ni ahindi the 2 million mojam yawdi adada amen, is put in bracket. It is put in bracket because not all ancient manuscripts contain that. And so there is a footnote that Tetiatra Trehonkro Munim the Forgetum him Mubino some fankaho, meaning that some of the ancient manuscripts do not add this to the text. And so when the degree of certainty, I've outlined this in one of my videos where I was talking about missing verses. Where the degree of certainty is not high, you can decide to put it in bracket and issue a footnote to indicate that not all or not many of the ancient manuscripts have this. And you realize that this part is not even recited in some churches like the Catholic Church. They recite up to the part which says, Nanyaye mayanko sohemu. Namum Jeffrey Bonnet for himself. Do not allow us to go into temptation, but deliver us from evil. But of course, that part in bracket, which I said is not found in some manuscripts, is not something that is completely out of the Bible. You can read 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 10 and 11, and you'll find something similar there. I believe that the little that I have done by way of introducing you to the newest Akan version of the Bible, that is the Bono-Twi New Testament, has given little insight into the Bono-Twi dialect, so that you also prepare to get a copy for yourself and to be edified as you read it. May God richly bless you. Bye for now.